Hello friends, welcome back to Mute S Academy. In today's session, we are going to explore Anypoint Flex Gateway. Anypoint Flex Gateway is a part of Universal API Management. Universal API Management is nothing but if we have API, let me bring my whiteboard. So if we have API in any technology deployed anywhere in the world, if I want to discover, manage, and secure from my Anypoint platform, that answer is nothing but a Anypoint Flex Gateway. So this Anypoint Flex Gateway gives us the flexibility from where if my API is implemented in .NET or in Python or in JavaScript, deployed anywhere in the world, I can discover, manage, and secure by using Anypoint platform, by using Anypoint Flex Gateway. So Universal API Management gives us that flexibility. Okay. Now, Anypoint Flex Gateway we can deploy in Linux, Docker, Kubernetes, and OpenShift. So we have 4 options now. In Linux, we have multiple operating systems. So based on our requirement, we can select which option suits better. Okay. Now, Anypoint Flex Gateway, we can use, okay, so any flex I name it, we can use in connected mode or local mode. If I'm using connected mode, I'll install the Flex Gateway. I'll register with my Anypoint platform control plane. Control plane, this is basically runtime manager. So from my control plane, I'll be able to manage, I'll be able to secure the APIs by using runtime manager and by using API manager. API MG. If I go with the local mode, then I won't be able to use Anypoint platform control plane at all. I have to do all the things on my local machine. So if I want to apply the policies, I need to write the configuration file, and via configuration file, I need to apply the policies. If I want to add APIs to my Anypoint Flex Gateway, I need to add those inside my configuration file. So we always suggest to go ahead with connected mode. This gives us the more flexibility, more features. We'll be able to push metadata, analytics data from our Flex Gateway to our Anypoint platform easily. Okay. Here in the local mode, we won't be pushing any data from Anypoint Flex Gateway local mode to Anypoint platform. Anypoint Flex Gateway, as I said, 2 modes we can. So when we register, so in our today's session, we'll try Anypoint platform. That means we'll go ahead with connected mode. Then when we registered our Flex Gateway to Anypoint platform, we have multiple authentication authorization option. First one is platform credentials. We can go ahead with this option. Second option is connected app. And third option is token, AuthToken. So in today's session, what we'll do, we'll use connected mode, we'll use token, we'll use Docker. Okay, so let me list down all the options. So Flex Gateway, demo. Okay. First thing, we'll deploy on Docker. Second thing, we'll go with connected mode. Third thing, we'll go with, so in connected mode, I'll add one more option or sub option called, we'll go ahead with token authentication. Third thing, we'll run our Flex Gateway on single replica. Okay, single replica. We'll add an API, which is non-mule APIs, add external non-mule API. Okay. And then finally, we'll secure API, that non-mule API, using basic authentication. So username and password. Okay. So these things we are going to try. Docker, connected mode, using token, then start the Flex Gateway in single replica, then add non-mule API via API manager and apply the policy basic authentication from API manager, and then test it. Finally, we test it. Okay, let's go ahead and start with. So since we are going to use Docker, so first we need to install Docker on our machine. So I am using Windows machine right now. So I'll download these Windows. Once you download, you will find this in your program files, Docker. Go ahead and start your Docker desktop. So we need to have Docker desktop running before starting our Flex Gateway deployment. Okay. Once you go here, you'll be able to see this screen where there are no images, no containers right now. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and first add the Flex Gateway. So to add the Flex Gateway, we need to log into our Anypoint platform. We can use our trial account. Okay. In the trial account, we have option to add the Flex Gateway. Go to the Flex Gateway. We have this many options. Just now I showed. Okay. Based on your requirement use case, you can select the option. Okay. So right now we'll select Docker, and in coming sessions, we'll see, other options as well. Okay. So let's select the Docker. And the moment you select the Docker, it's asked again, go ahead and check the software requirement. So we'll go ahead and review the prerequisite and software requirement. So here, all the big list is there. So whichever option you select. Okay. So, running Flex Gateway, we need to have this permission, manage server, read server permission in runtime manager. Since in my trial account, I am the admin, I really don't need this permission. Okay. But if you are, normal user, you need to have this permissions. Okay. And when we are creating connected app, that connected app should have this permission. Okay. So when we'll be running via connected app, we'll see this. Okay. Now, if you're using Kubernetes and OpenShift, these are the options. Okay. So you need to have one of the, data center, from either Google or Amazon or Azure. Then if you are using Linux deployment, these many OS we have, and those should have long-term support. Okay. Linux. Then we'll go ahead and, so since our Flex Gateway to communicate with MuleSoft managed, definitely Flex Gateway works with MuleSoft managed control plane. So it has to access those Anypoint platform APIs and services. So they need to, you must add this host names and port of external resources to the allow list. So we have US control plane. If you have Europe control plane, we'll see that how we can register a Flex Gateway with the Europe control plane. So these are the options we need to go ahead and add in our allow list. Okay. Okay. So once this is done, we'll go back to our Anypoint platform, and first we'll copy these commands. Okay. So first, since our Docker is running, we'll pull the Flex Gateway latest image. So let's go ahead. First command we'll copy on our notepad. So this is the first command. Okay. Second command. In the second command, we don't need this part. Okay. We don't need this UID part. The UID part was there in old process. Okay, now we don't need it. Okay, in old process we used to get 3 different files with uid.config, uid.key, uid.pem file. Now we don't need it. Okay, so copy this on our notepad, Control P. So first thing, I'll remove this part, and what I'll do is, first let me, since I'm running on my Windows machine, so I'll keep this entire command on single line. Otherwise, if you're running on Linux, this command will work perfectly fine. So Control H, and I'll say you'll have space. Let's see what happens. So my complete command on is single line. Now I don't need this, so I'll just remove this part. We are running on Windows, so we need this current directory. So I create one directory on our machine. So let's go ahead. So I have created Flex Gateway Connected Mode. We'll copy this path. Okay, over here, Control D. Perfect. And we'll give our Flex Gateway name. So I'll say my FGW Flex Gateway. As I mentioned, right, we are going to use token method. So this token is automatically coming from my runtime manager itself. So I don't need to go anywhere else. And this is the organization where I'll be registering my Flex Gateway. Okay. So this is my second command. Let's go to third command. Third command is to start the gateway. Okay. So copy this. We'll start the gateway on third command. Control V. Here also we'll make that change. So we'll Control S. We'll be running on. So perfect. And we'll change our PWD. Not going to work on Windows machine. So we'll put our absolute directory address. So under this directory, once we registered our Flex Gateway with our Anypoint platform, the registration.yaml file be created. Okay. So right now we are not passing. So by default, this Flex Gateway will be registered with anypoint.platform.com. If you want, that is a default URL for our Anypoint platform control plane. If you have Europe control plane, we can go ahead and add one more property here. So that property is quickly, if you go and add that property, which is our, here after this, we can add hyphen, and we can say Anypoint platform URL. So I'll give the name also, Anypoint hyphen URL, and then we can pass our HTTP s://eu1.anypoint.mulesoft.com. Okay, so we don't need that right now because we need our default Anypoint platform control plane, so we don't need to add that. If you want, add that hyphen anypoint hyphen URL and then pass the Europe region control plane. Okay. Then finally we'll start the replica. Now in the replica, if you see, our Flex Gateway replica will be running on port 8081, and it will migrate or propagate or push that request on 8081 port. So whichever API we are going to add, that has to run on 8081. Okay. So whenever we add the replica, we'll be changing this port only. Okay. So, in the next session, I'll run this Flex Gateway on multiple replicas. That time I'll only change this port. So replica has to run on different port. Our API will be running on same port. Okay. Let's go ahead quickly. So Docker is running. Let me go and start the command line from here, from my folder. Okay. So I'll say cmd and start our. So first, let's pull the the Flex Gateway latest image. I'll maximize it. So it's pulling the latest image. So once this image is downloaded completely, we'll be able to see that image in this list. Okay. Once that image is there, we'll start that image in single replica. So it will create a container. Under container that will be running. Okay. So let's wait for this to image. Yeah, you can see that now. So we have image now. We'll go with the second command. Okay. So hope the second command is very clear. We are running in connected mode and we are using token for authentication. Okay. And we are using Docker. So let's go ahead and run my second command where it will be registering my Docker, Flex Gateway with my Anypoint platform. Okay. And it will start at registration. Okay. And it will create a registration.yaml file in our folder. Let me show you that. This is the registration.yaml file just now created. Let me show you this file. This file we have the communication, connection information, authentication information, and this communication with Flex Gateway and the Anypoint platform is a two-way SSL. Okay, very secure. So we can see here, the information will be there. You see TLS secret. This information is there. This is our connection information. If this file is not there, you won't be able to communicate with our Anypoint platform from the Flex Gateway. Okay. Finally, we'll start our third command. So let's go ahead and start our third command, where we are running a replica now, which will be running on 8081, which will be diverting that request, incoming request to 8081 port. Let's go ahead and third command. Okay. Starting, let's look at our control plane. What changes are happening on control plane? So if you go to my Flex Gateway back, see here my FGW with one replica and connected. Okay. So we have successfully registered our Flex Gateway, which is running on Docker with our Anypoint platform. We have used connected mode. We have used token option to communicate our Flex Gateway with our Anypoint platform. Now, as I mentioned, we are running a single replica. So from here, we can go ahead and we can add APIs. Here itself, we have option to go ahead to the API manager. Okay. So directly we'll go ahead to API manager. Before that, let me show you the external API, which is running on, let's say, this is the JSON. So this is the external API. So this API is giving me a response. I don't know where it is deployed. I don't know in which technology is deployed. So Universal API management gives that flexibility to manage any API from our Anypoint platform directly. Okay. So we'll use URL. So let's go ahead. We'll add this API. So go ahead and add API. It will take us to the API manager. Okay. So it will take us to the API manager. Now here you can see that we have new option called Flex Gateway. Earlier we used to have Mule Gateway and Service Mesh. Now we have this. Now it has to be connected. So select this and say, I'm going to use this Flex Gateway. Next. And right now I'm not going to use any of this. I'm going to create new. Give asset name. We'll say JSON Flex FGW API, and it's a HTTP API. Next. So you can see here, it's running on 8081. So whatever we said, right? So this is my Flex Gateway replica port number. This is my API port number. Okay. So we'll be triggering our flex and we'll get, divert that call to 8081 port. Let's go back, click, we were running on. So here we need to pass the implementation URL. Okay. Copy that URL from here. We will pass till here. Control C. Go back to API manager. Control V. Okay. Next. Save and deploy. This will get deployed on our Flex Gateway. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and try to run it from our all matrices. So we'll be able to see here. Okay. That's the advantage we are getting it. So once my Postman is up, okay, let's go ahead. So our Flex Gateway is running on our local host running on 8081 port, and my resource path will be users -id. If you wanted to check the user path, you can see that users and then user ID. Okay, so I'll give 4 over here and set trigger. So we can see the output. If I change 5, okay. So right now via Flex Gateway, we are able to get the response. Okay. Now, if you go to Anypoint Platform API Manager, if you refresh, you'll be able to see here monitoring data. Okay. Getting loaded. It will load the data after some time over here. Now if you look at the API without any credentials, I'm able to access. So if you remember our use case, so Docker, we have deployed our Flex Gateway on Docker. We have used connected mode, we have used token, we have used single replica, and we have added the external non-mule API also. Now the last thing, we'll go ahead and we'll apply basic authentication. Let's go ahead, quickly go to our API manager. Now there is an option called policies here. Okay, let's go ahead and add a policy. Basic authentication, simple. Next. Okay, so I'll just say okay. So I'll apply this username and password. Policy is applied. Let's wait for the policy, will take some time, 40 to 45 seconds. It's applied. So if you want to see the logs of Flex Gateway in runtime manager, Flex Gateway. Now if you go here under logs, so we can go ahead and look at these logs in Anypoint monitoring. So we can select this is the API right now running, instance, view. So this is the advantage we are getting. See now, the logs, the metadata is getting pushed from Flex Gateway to Anypoint monitoring. And we can see some data. You can see here the green, right? Okay. Now if we go back to our Postman and see, not yet applied. Oh. Let's wait for that. Yeah, you can see now it's asking for the authentication. So now I'll go ahead and I'll apply basic authentication. Go ahead, select basic auth here. And let me check my credentials back again. Back 30. Password is same. So I'll go ahead and say, you can see now with this basic authentication, we are able to access our external app deployed on our Flex Gateway non-mule app, and we are able to secure, we are able to manage, and we are able to quickly, I show you, we are able to discover this from our exchange. Let me quickly go to the exchange. Exchange. Here you can see that from here people can put access request. Okay, so that's all from this session. So we have successfully installed the Flex Gateway on Docker using connected mode, and we have used AuthToken as an authentication mechanism. We have added a single non-mule API. We have secured via basic authentication, and we have seen how to see the logs, how to monitor it, and how to secure it from API manager. So now via Flex Gateway, we are able to, use the Anypoint platform, capabilities, and even for non-mule API. Yeah, that's all from this session. Thanks for watching, and I'll recommend everyone to please go ahead, subscribe the channel, hit the bell icon, hit the like button, and see you in the coming sessions. Thank you. Bye bye.